Ryan, hello. Nice to meet you.
How's it going? Nice to meet you too. Little
So
Twitter
this,
mutuals is what they call
yes.
it.
So this is our first time talking, but I know for a fact we definitely got like mutual friends.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Karen being one of them, of
For
course.
sure. I can't. Oh yeah. I know that was a surprise one. I didn't know. You said Karen's gonna be on. I said, oh, how are you guys connected?
Yeah, did you go to Dickinson?
Now I find out. Nah, me no. I went to
Did you
McNair. That's how I
That's
knew
how
Karen.
I know Ryan. We both went to McNair.
Not the McNerds are up in here, child.
I mean, honestly, off record, I tell people that I was homeschooled. Some people
Why
may
would you
lie and
do
say
that?
that they've seen me there. I say that I went to visit people from time to time. That's why they saw me there. But really, off record, I tell people I was homeschooled for personal
That's
reasons. So
that's nothing wrong with that.
I
I
do,
couldn't. Maybe I should start doing
I do not
that.
claim that facility. Let's just say that.
LOL. That is
That's
funny.
another podcast for another day.
Yeah, you know what? Right. That's another time. I don't. That's another time. That's
And I thought Ferris was a hot ass mess, and hearing the McNair stories, oh no. Y'all went through it.
the block be loud as hell. So I'm gonna just say it now. You hear a loud ass engine coming down the block. I mean, I wish I could stop. If you hear unnecessary honking for 5 minutes long, because for some reason there's this unwritten rule that we're gonna just honk for unnecessarily long periods. So I'm gonna just say that so there's no surprises. So that's my
I mean, it
disclaimer.
just adds to the authenticity of the episode, to be honest. We are talking about Jersey City.
Exactly. It is. This is my first time on a podcast ever. Like ever.
Wow.
So history.
the
History.
the shock.
Because I known Karen for 2 years now, right? I think we met junior year.
Mm,
So, and we were
Yeah.
really tight in that marketing class, child. It was, I think we're the only two black folk in there with some damn sense. And yeah. Business is not the realm for black people. I'm telling you, when you start getting into business and politics with black folk, they coon and buffoon like no other. When I tell you I dropped that minor like that,
Wait, because I was gonna make that a minor too. But I'm telling you that intro class, like I swear to you, I was just like, nah, it can't be. Like, there's no way only 5 people out of 30 have sense. I refuse to believe it. If this is what it's looking like, I just can't. Like, the one girl who was talking about her hair business, and every example had to be about her hair business, every class. And I'm just like, listen, AliExpress, I'm here to learn. I'm not here for like every class, every example had to relate to her business. It was very chaotic. So let's just say that didn't become an official minor, and I'm not blaming it or not blaming it on that class.
hello, everybody. Welcome to the Devin Hour podcast. I'm your host, Devin, aka Devin Too Woke. Yes, I do have a do rag on. No, I don't want waves. Yes, I want to keep my hair moisturized. Period. Welcome. We have two very special guests today for this episode. We're going to be talking about Jersey City, my hometown, our hometown. And we're going to get into a lot of different topics. But I'm so excited to have my friend Karen on, and also one of my favorite Twitter mutuals, Ryan. Welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it.
Everybody, I already gave them the rundown, so they already know. We cut up over here on the Devon Hour, okay? So we're going to get into it. So I just want you guys to. I'm going to start this episode off. I really want to start it off with something controversial, right? So I want to know best pizza spot in Jersey City right now. Go ahead.
The Pizza Masters, being in the Heights, that's why I got Stadium got second or first. I had a lot of Stadium at one time, amazing pizza, but convenience wise, gotta go with Pizza Masters.
Okay.
Interesting. You know, personally,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I should even comment because before I embarrass myself and then people go on and be like, she lives in Jersey City and that's what she said, I'm going to just say, Pizza Master, that's a great option. It was great pizza. And that's all I'm going to say. I can't, bow out of this one,
It's only one answer, and it was stadiums. That is the best. And since I do live downtown, and there's a lot of people who will argue Stella's or Helen's, and I say you could go fuck yourself.
Nah.
It's a no from me, dog.
Find a new spot.
Now, I really want to know, where did you grow up in Jersey City? You said the Heights, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
And I'm down. Well, I lived on the Hill. I used to live on Grant between Martin Luther King and Bergen, so I wasn't a hood child. And then my mama said, "Oh hell no!" So we moved downtown. Well, we're not in any of the houses and shit down there, but we're just down there. Right? I'm like across the street from Ferris, so that's where I'm
there's
at.
people holding it down in downtown. There's
There
a
is
good amount of people holding it down.
We try, child. They're trying to boot us out.
The emphasis on trying. Yeah. So I've grown up. Yeah, I grew up in the Heights, same building, like my whole life.
West Side, I guess, that area, but not really.
Yeah, I can't tell you what ward that is.
Yeah, Lincoln Park area is what I'll tell you, but not the West Side part of the block, like the Abraham Lincoln part of the block.
Okay.
What do you call that area? Do you just call it JFK or something? I don't know. What do you call that?
This thing, I live in between JFK and Bergen, so
I guess West Side.
I don't, I guess it gets confusing. I actually searched up my house one time, and I swear to you, I was on, my house was a dot on the line of two wards. So,
love that for us.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to hold on to the raggedy apartment. Someone's got to do it. And if it's someone, I'm glad it's me. Glad.
You better hang on tight, because one swift move and that shit will become a luxury rental. Okay, you gotta hold on.
Yeah.
How have you seen your area change from when you were younger to now? Or has it been the same? If it's been the same, lucky for you.
There has been I'd say dramatic changes that kind of happen slowly but surely. So some of the things are so I'm gonna start with general of infrastructure, right? So there's a lot of infrastructure change within the area. So Persian Field has had a dusty track field from when I was running there till about a couple of years ago, when they decided to actually pave it over. And then you start to notice these changes, and you think they're connected to community care, but they're kind of connected to the new community that's moving in. So the parks get nicer. Then you start to notice restaurants changing every so often. So there's a consistent basis of, there's a new restaurant here, same building, the new restaurant a couple months later, the new restaurant a couple months later. And then we have these weird houses now, the houses that I'm used to seeing. And there's one big 3-family house with a thumb door handle with these giant windows. This has its own garage, and it's none of it really fits into the neighborhood. And then within my own building, there's renovation of apartments and increases of rent, astronomical. As soon as somebody moves out, they increase in rent crazy.
Oh no.
I feel like my block specifically, not much, not significantly. I feel like growing up, it was crazier though. More people I live on those streets where the summertime, everybody's out on the street all damn day. So yeah, it's pretty much it's still like that every summer. I would say the action off record, the violence has simmered down, except when it's summer and it's hot and people are lit. But yeah, I feel like it's calmed down in that way a bit. Um, Generally around my area, I would say the same thing, like seeing one raggedy building constantly swap out for a new restaurant. Like I think there's this one, I don't know if you, all right, so there's this one, it's like by Duncan Avenue on Bergen, like they have those restaurants there now. And it's like a barbecue place. There's this one right next to it that's like has changed.
Yes.
First it was a French, yeah, it was a French bakery, and then it turned into something else, and now it's a chicken and waffle spot. And yeah, so I've seen that swap out a couple of times. Um, I'm not too far from Journal Square, so it's been interesting to see a Starbucks
A
that's not
Jollibee.
downtown. Right, Jollibee, Wendy's, that's not in like a 440 or something like that where you expect to see a Wendy's. So like in Journal Square, like that's kind of odd. But the same thing, not necessarily in my building because my landlord is cheap.
Downtown, it has been a good, obviously it's been a lot of changes down here, right? But in my particular area, it kind of remained untouched because it's like those first couple of blocks have just been like, housing and stuff. But now they changed that damn church into a condo. And when I tell you I am terrified, nothing scares
So
me more than white people.
I was just like, you guys change a church into a condo? I mean, then there's no hope for the rest of us.
Oh, yeah, girl, we out. They
Nah,
want to give
yeah.
us the 10 years. Okay, get your shit together and move. Because if they're willing to take down a whole entire church and change it into like a condo or whatever, that's ridiculous to me. I said, oh, hell no. My time is ticking, girl.
Not the church. Wow.
Yeah, so it's been wild and seeing like these big old buildings. Like, I don't understand why it's like always luxury or condos. Why can't it just be regular ass apartments?
Mm,
It's always those.
little
Question,
agenda.
question, because on every tiny piece of open land that there is in this city turns out to be a 100-foot story condo. And let's break things down. Let's get into that a bit. So these things cost thousands of dollars for like studio apartments. And we all know that it's to fit the 1%. Now,
Mm.
please let me know how many people are in that 1% that we can need to continue to build these buildings. I know they're not all packed to capacity. I
They're
just know
not.
for a fact, like you have 30 buildings all within a 10-block radius, and I know they're not at 50% in each building. So when do we as a city say, enough, let's stop building
That's the thing,
empty
though.
buildings?
It's I feel like there'll never be a not a surplus of people just leaving New York because
Right.
they can't afford to live their dreams over there. So it's a consistent flow. It's like they go there, oh, can't afford it, they come here. Or they're like, I want to be over there in New York, can't afford it. What's the closest place? Boom, they're here. So like even people with like regular jobs over there, they might like, cause my boy, they built the new house next to him. He got like five heads that come in and out of one apartment, it seems.
Yeah.
So it's like they're doing the roommate thing, and it's just like maybe a couple $100 cheaper per roommate
Mm-hmm.
over here than it would be over there. And so it's like man, it's like there's 1% in like those super crazy buildings living with just their family, but then you look at the rest of the people in that building, it's just everybody that can't be in New York right
And
now. That's what
then
it's
Yeah.
like.
why aren't I feel like some of these open spaces need to turn into parking lots because the parking in this city is non-existent at this point.
It's ridiculous. It's
It's
really ridiculous.
non-existent. Like I don't drive, but my dad does, and like I think the other day it took him over an hour to find parking. Like,
Yeah.
I would literally leave my car in the middle of the road and just, it's beyond me at this point. Like, if I come back and I have a car, great. If I don't, I mean, maybe for the best, because I would just personally give up. But it's insane.
What I find interesting
Oh,
is
for
that like
sure.
that's always been Jersey City's appeal, right? Like because you can't go to New York City, so you come to Jersey City. That's always been our appeal. So that's not something that I'm shocked about or like frustrated about, because yeah, I understand it. Like you're gonna come over to Jersey because you can't afford to live in New York, and nobody wants to pay those prices. But what I don't like is all these high rises and stuff, and they're not filled. Like it's going to end up like Brooklyn, like how Brooklyn has all of these high rises and condos, but they're not filled, and then homelessness goes up, and it's just stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
that really scares me for the future, because because Jersey City was a commodity, now is being equivalent to a New York, which scares the hell out of me, because then it defeats the purpose of coming over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand it.
Yeah, but that's what the mayor wants.
Oh, we're gonna get
That's
into
what he
his ass in a
wants.
minute.
He wants to be New York Junior. It makes the city look good. I guess he makes a lot of money doing it. With all these
Oh,
developers shaking hands.
it's got
Re-election. It's easy to run re-election when people funding the campaign.
That's true. Okay. But I don't care who the hell's going against him. That they getting my damn vote at this point. I don't care. I don't care who's running against him. I'll just be like, bitch, whoever this is, yep, you
And that's the
next.
thing, is like that's what the conversation always boils down to, is like always vote blue, and Phillip's blue.
Right.
He's
And
technically a blue guy.
I think that's what really opened my eyes to like um, understanding that just because you are blue or a Democrat or whatever, that doesn't make you not racist. Because one thing I appreciate about Republicans and people that vote red is that at least you racist, and you're racist in my damn face. So I know what the hell I'm getting into. But for you to vote blue and to be a Democrat, and for you to be, is latent racism. So they're not outright calling you an N-word or whatever the case may be, but they're definitely going to build some damn buildings in your area and give you undisclosed amount of time to get the fuck out. And I think that's just as worse.
They're gonna build $1 million park, and you're gonna think it's yours for 4 years, and then the skyrise is gonna be built there.
Let's talk
5% affordable
Barry
housing.
fucking Lane. Barry Lane.
Yeah.
They did them dirty, but we're definitely going to get into that. But speaking of New York, how do you feel about the New York comparisons? Because I feel like every single time there's a conversation or like a video that goes viral in Jersey City, people's like, "Oh, that's New York," and we're just like, "That's Columbus."
like the guy with the sled, and they were just trying to call it like that's Jersey City, that's us. I feel like socially, it's annoying because like you be on Twitter, whatever the case is, and New York people swear for whatever reason that Jersey City people are attempting to be like them or stealing their type of thing. I'm like, do you understand how close we are to New York City? Do you understand the amount of transportation systems that lets both New York and Jersey people go in and out like it's nothing? Like a lot of people live in New York but work here, a lot of people, and vice versa. That's one. Two, we as Jersey City, I feel like us right here, we're closer to like the city than some people who live in the state of New York. Like
that is true.
Our cultures are very similar. I hate the whole like, oh, they trying to be like New York. Like, no, I just think the vicinity has made it easier to share cultures and lingo, whatever the case is. I think it's weird to be like, oh, they trying to be like us. Like, no, we're not. And the Jersey Club, how people like to steal it and call it other names and claim that oh, this is Miami music or this DMV music. Like, no, that's Jersey Club. I just have to say that I needed to put that out there. Stop stealing Jersey Club and naming it something else.
Period. Two birds, one
stone. The dances never ever like meet.
Right.
It's always like the dance is way down.
Yeah, for real. I also noticed like a lot of people from New York who live in like those hoods or whatever, they do come to Jersey. Like they do end up moving here. And
They end up
so
moving to Patterson.
that
Like
too,
9 times out of 10.
that too, because child, that's a whole other podcast on Patterson, child. But yeah, like we share a lot of the lingo. So like a lot of the things that we say, it does come from New York because that's just where we're at. But I feel like Jersey City has like a very specific type of lingo. So it's Jersey, of course, and then it's
Yeah.
also New York. It's a combination of both. So when people compare us, I'm like, well, like that's cute or whatever, but we're definitely in New Jersey. Like we're still Jersey people. So I don't really like the whole like
Yeah.
grouping us into one or trying to compare us, because I feel like it's two different ball games if you want to compare Dykeman
They
to
even
anything else.
yeah, they don't even compare. They compare themselves among themselves too. Like I don't know, most of the people from New York I meet aren't familiar enough with Jersey City to have like opinions on it. They have like a
Mm-hmm.
general opinion of New Jersey, which is
Yes.
somewhat fair because it's like if you look at New Jersey as a whole, it's like whatever. There
Yep.
have been times where it's like lingo I've used has not translated, and they're like, "Oh, that's some Jersey stuff you're saying." And I'm like, "Yeah." So it's like I know that there's like distinctions, but even when you talk to them, it's like, "Oh, you from the Bronx, someone from Brooklyn, someone from Queens, someone from like Harlem." They all got their own like little like, "Oh, you move like this because you're from here."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I never try to take it too personally. It's when people from Philly say that Jersey's trying to copy Philly, is where I'm like, all
Yeah. Now Philly needs to relax.
Like that's like now you're like, because like what?
right.
Now you've crossed the line.
Right. Now I'm offended. How dare you?
Like how dare you?
How dare you, Philly? Nothing about New York, but how dare you, Philadelphia?
Right. Like, why
Oh,
would
it's
we
facts.
do that? Like that's actually quite disrespectful.
Yeah, it's
You
facts.
know,
Right.
honestly speaking, when I talk about Jersey, let it be known that I'm only talking about like the northern parts of New Jersey. And if I can even specify more, I would say like Hudson, Essex County. Like
Yeah.
if I'm being very honest, like when I'm talking about Jersey, even if I say Jersey and I'm not specifically saying like Jersey City or this and that, I'm only talking about northern New Jersey. I have no
Yeah.
clue what lies beyond northern. I've gone down there once or twice, and I'm just like, yeah. So there's like farms and stuff
Yeah.
down there. And I'm just like, are you like, what
Not
state?
like even
That's
up
the
here,
thing though.
like Sussex County, Merce, like all of them, they all have farms and shit. Warren County, that's up north, but they are racist as the fuck over there. Oh my gosh, Trump land is
That's why
ridiculous.
I had to specify the northern and just say like Hudson,
Yeah.
Essex when
We
I'm
just
like,
mean east. We just mean the east.
right, just us over here. Like I'm not really
That's
claiming.
yeah. And that's the thing, like New York has been able to do that. They've been able to do like we're New York upstate that don't count.
Yep.
Right.
Staten Island that don't count, Long Island that don't count, whatever they say. But for some reason, like all of Jersey gets lumped into like one. I guess it's
Exactly.
because we're connected, like physically,
Right. But I'm just
and
like,
they
I don't
aren't technically.
like
But I think it's unfair.
I don't fully understand the, the Italian jokes, like the Jersey Shore stuff. Like I watched the show, but I'm just like, I've never lived that
I
life.
don't ever really see Italians up here, to be
Right.
honest. I see
I've
every
never
other white group, but I really don't be
I
seeing.
didn't spend my summers on a boat
No,
at the beach or downtown on the boardwalk. Like that's not what I did,
no.
So I can't relate.
Nobody's going to Wildwood because it's a bleeder and a half to get down there. So like I hate being grouped into every other group of New Jersey
Yeah,
because we're so unique. Like Newark, I feel like Newark and Jersey City, I think we're really the only ones that could really have like a commentary. Patterson, if they want to, whenever they decide to be a part of us. But South Jersey is out of the question. Is a no. Any beach area is a no for me. For a lot of those who are out here listening to this podcast and don't know what gentrification is, bitch, Google it. I'm not going to sit up here and explain some shit that you should know, but gentrification is definitely hitting Jersey City hard. I think when I started at Kane in 2016, it was a whole different city. And every single time I would come back home, it'll be something new. So I wasn't here living here like real time seeing the shit change. But how was it for y'all? Because I can't believe it. Was it like just a blink of an eye that shit started changing, or was it like gradually? Like, what's
It
your perspective?
it feels like that. It feels like a blink of an eye, but so like growing up, like I wasn't really familiar with a lot of the different parts of Jersey City because
Right.
I just kind of just stood at home, was in the Heights mostly. Um, so I wasn't familiar with downtown much before it was changed, but I've been subject to conversations with people who have witnessed the change. But for my experiences, it seems like a blink of an eye, but then you start to think about it, and it's really just been gradual shifts. So like you don't necessarily notice one or two people move into your neighborhood because they don't change the building, but
Mm-hmm.
they're there, they're in the building, you know? It's like they start those roots kind of early. And like again, so like the park thing changed, and then like after that, like big buildings start going up, big fancy whatever buildings start going up, and those come in fast. It's like
Yeah,
boom,
they
they're
do.
building it today, it's there tomorrow. So and then you see a couple of them, you start to notice them more, and you're like, wow, a lot of things are changing fast. But it's like, oh, these contracts have been signed years ago. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they had to have been. Um, and every other change, the small change they make in preparation, has been established throughout the years. So it feels like within the last 2 to 3, maybe 5 years, but it's been probably like the last probably 15, 20.
Yeah.
I personally, I feel like I've felt like it's been gradual, at least till like the last few years, but feel like for the most majority of my life, I've been gradual. And I will put that on the fact that I feel like growing up legit in the same neighborhood my entire life. And it's not just me though, like pretty much majority of the people on my block specifically have all lived here my entire life. So I feel like outwardly, because I don't really like go around all over Jersey City, I'm pretty much in my neighborhood because the people at the very least have still been the same. I feel like it's been easier for me not to realize like how much has changed outside of that, because like when I'm looking outside, when I'm looking around my neighborhood, like it's pretty much the same. Like the same corner store that's been there since I was a kid is still there. The same people who live on the block is still there. So I feel like in that part, but when I leave like my neighborhood or whatever, I feel like in the last couple years for sure, I feel like things have just like it's been like quick. They just popped up. Like
Yeah.
even going to like McNair, like I remember because like we all take the bus or whatever and stuff like that. I even like by the time we graduated and even like now going back and I see like damn like this new building, like I think well Ron, you'll know, like walking from McNair, and you know when you walk to Newport Mall and you take like the St. Anthony's way, that big ass building that's like
Yes.
right across from Newport, I was just like I think I had gone back sometime like after we graduated and I was by Newport. I was just like, yo, when did this ginormous building get here? And I feel like it was only like a year or two after I graduated. I was just like, yo, was I not noticing this every time I walked here, or did this really just come out of thin air? So I feel like some things I feel like I just was oblivious to. And then when I finally looked up and realized, I was just like, damn, like so much has changed.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing how like buildings just get put up, how apartments are just built, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like when I tell you living on campus and coming back home like every other week or so, it was like I was living in a whole different world every single time. Like it was crazy seeing like this come up and then that come up. And then from freshman year all the way to senior year, when I came back, I said, damn, bitch, downtown ain't the same downtown.
Yeah.
That
And like it's natural for cities to change, but when
Yeah.
you look at the history of how cities change, it's always on I guess the white man's time, right? So there's like white flight, they dip and then they just come back, and like they dip and like impoverish an entire city by leaving,
mm-hmm.
right? to go to those burbs, and then they're like, they raise kids that are like, I don't want to be in the burbs, and then they
Right.
go to the city, and then they change it, and then again, it's like they're bringing a revenue but impoverishing the city, and it's like in the way that the city is represented by its people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's
So the
sad.
change is always brought by them.
That's true. And it's very sad because I noticed that every single time something is brought up and built, they always try to give something to the community, right? So like a park, or like I think recently with the Berry Lane, like a recreation center, or with Laurel Court, a school.
Yeah.
And that to me
So
is sinister. It's so sinister.
that's
Right.
written in the so like when they're fighting for like 20% affordable housing, they argued that let's bring it down to 5%, and they made the 5% optional. So an optional in a sense that if you give something to the city in terms of like you put money into a park, or you put money into recreation, or you build a police station, or you build a fire station, or whatever, you can opt out of 5% affordable housing. So it's all because then you think about the infrastructure that they're giving to the city is going to the people that occupy the buildings that they want inside their buildings anyway.
Like, bitch, we don't want no damn park.
Right.
I don't give a
Exactly.
just build a damn, or don't build the building, just build a park, or just build a school. And we are currently in what is it? Is it an educational crisis where there's not enough schools to accommodate all the damn kids that are over here? So just build a damn school. Like that Laurel Court situation threw me for a loop. I was like, do you really need a fat ass building to have a school? No, you don't. Just build a fucking school. And give it like a number. Give it like number 45 or some shit. Like, do you really like, are you ridiculous?
They don't care about the kids, man. They want people that come here with dogs, no kids.
Right. But even like my dad, like whenever we're downtown, he never fails to mention the same thing, which is like how different. Like for me, I feel like I didn't really see it, and by the time I was like old enough to really be like aware and understanding, because I didn't really regularly go downtown until I went to school down there, and I had to go downtown. But like my dad, every time we go downtown, he always says like how crazy it is. He'll tell me like how 90% of the buildings are there now were not there
No.
15, 20 years ago. Like there was literally all of like probably like 3 or 4 big old skyscrapers, and now there's like 20, 30. Like everywhere you go, there's a big one. Like the
JC was
BJ,
dingy.
the B,
JC
the
was dingy.
BJ's parking lot. Did you see the building that's in that parking lot now where Pep Boys used to be in the BJ ShopRite Plaza or
Yes.
whatever? I was just like, and it's like a little like its own neighborhood. Like even like the street sides of the parking lot, it's like different. It has like a sidewalk and like
Yeah.
grass, and I'm just like, where did this come from? Like
And they
it's
have a
really
school there too. That's a school that they built in there too, which I was like, ain't nobody fucking going over there. That's not accommodating to us hood kids.
right. That's accommodating to like the 10 people in the building who have a kid.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, it sucks. And now we could talk about the mayor, because I really just feel the need to address this man. But I do not, when I tell you I do not like Philip, I genuinely do not like him. When I found out he was from Edison, I said, put him here. How did he get here? Who did this? I blame the
It's
adults.
easy. It's easy to run against somebody who's red in a blue city
That's
and
true.
win.
Yep.
It's easy, and that's unless we kind of reevaluate deeply who we have, both in our council and in the mayoral positions, and under that, we're gonna constantly fall into that same cycle. Because who was it before? It was Healy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta get rid of Healy. Not gonna vote red. So you know what I'm saying? And then it's like
Healy
you
was a
end up with
Republican.
him. I'm not exactly sure on the man's politics,
I
but I know
like
we had to get him
Jeremiah
out of there.
Healy.
I
At
I think
least
I
when
just
I
was
was
too
a
young
kid.
to be familiar.
I just like at least when I was a kid, I just remember there was always some activity and it'd be like Healy. I'm just like, hey, that's a good guy, you know?
Right. Yeah. My
I
mom.
don't know,
My mom thought he was a decent dude, and I was like, okay. I
know
get that.
any of his policies, but I just remember there was always some kind of like kid activity. I'm just like, thanks, Mary Haley. But Philip, on the other hand, well,
Because I remember when
Yeah.
he was running, and I remember people like, oh, he's something fresh, something new. And for that first couple of years, I guess through our time in high school, like he really wasn't doing much from our perspective. We were like, okay, whatever. Like you're here, we're just gonna keep it pushing. But as we get older and we starting to see like the changes and how drastic the changes were, I was like, oh wait, this man is evil.
right.
Like this, like at one point, I was like, you know what? I commend him for his strategy. Okay, that's some shiesty shit. But then
Yeah.
now I'm just like, yo, this man is really evil. Like for you to come from Edison to come here to Jersey City and then to change it the way that you're changing it, and the fact that even as of recently when Aisha McFadden got shot and got killed, and he didn't say shit about that, but he was so quick to speak about the shooting at the deli, at the Jewish deli. And I'm just like, oh, so this is where you're at. So I'm gonna just say this bluntly:
Mm.
Mayor Phillip is anti-black,
Period.
and that's on
Yeah.
that. He's anti-black. He's anti bi POC. Like it's, I can't stand him, and he needs to go. He gotta go.
He's anti Jersey City. Like he hates Jersey City because he's
He
constantly
do.
trying to change it.
Rapidly.
Oh, rapidly, yeah. With I don't know how
The
long has he even been in an office?
8 years
the
now.
bike
Rapid.
lane, the bike lanes that are now taking over regular driving lanes. Let's get into it a bit. You know,
Goes back to
the
parking.
Journal Square, the
Huh?
Journal Square area is already chaotic as it is. They've now taken up a whole lane in the worst possible part that you could in Journal Square and have made it a bike / parking lane right in the center of the street. So as if it wasn't already chaotic over there, now it's even worse when there's one less lane. Now Grove Street, you know that street when you're coming down and they've now blocked it off, the one lane to make it whatever that's supposed to be. And I'm just like, who's asking for this? I need a list of all the people asking for this. I need all 15 of their names because I just like it's ridiculous. I'm not understanding why we need, you know what? It just came to me. Lincoln Park. I grew up, that park is literally right down the street. So I've spent many summers there. They completely changed Lincoln Park. Before, you used to be able to like go either way. So you
Yeah.
could easily like cut through and get to 440. Now you have to take a 15-minute diversion and go all the way around the park if you want to. And like, I didn't realize how much of a difference it make, but it's a huge difference. And it's honestly, and you know what they did? They added a big old bike lane going around the whole entire park. Can't forget the bike lane.
I didn't
And
vote for
that's the
that.
thing too. It's like it's 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 easy to like make those things digestible without realizing like what the actual motive is behind it. It's easy
Right.
to be like, what, you ride bikes, right? Everybody rides bikes. Wouldn't we want them to be safer on their bike?
Right.
And it's like, yes, but people have been riding bikes for 30 years.
Perfectly fine.
And
I see people ride on the street and avoid the bike lane that had to be there. Like I still see people avoid
Still.
the bike lane. I mean, I feel like we were doing just fine without them.
yeah,
So
and it's like they didn't care enough to build the bike lane then. All these
No.
kids riding bikes in the street, it wasn't their concern. But a new consumer comes in with their, their I don't even know what's those bikes that they ride with the big wheel in the front and the little wheel in the back.
Fixies or
They
something like
come in.
that.
the city bike,
City bike people. That's
Oh
who it's for. There
yes.
you go.
city bikes. That, oh my god, almost forgot about that. I
What
don't
an
know.
era. What an era that died down really fast though.
It did. Wow.
They still out there though. The Lime scooters in Hoboken died fast.
Oh yes.
Those lasted all of one summer.
They did. They only lasted one summer and then they were done. I don't see nobody on city bikes. I think I see a lot of people steal city bikes, but I haven't seen like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And honestly, it's
You
what
see,
they
like the
deserve.
average.
It's what they deserve.
Oh yeah.
Because some of the streets that I've seen, like the biking racks, I'm just like, why? First of all, there's not even enough room for pedestrians to walk on the sidewalk. Why is there a big old city bike
There's
rack
one
right?
like around the corner from my house. It takes up like 2 parkings.
That's ridiculous. That is,
And
and then one thing that really like threw me for a loop is when my friend was working at Ani Ramen, and we were talking to this white woman, and obviously she was not from here, and then she was like, we're talking about like gentrification and all that, and she was like, the rent is getting too high, da 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 da. And I'm looking at her, I was like, girl, it's your fault. But but secondly, now you know this city done fucked up when you got a white woman complaining about some damn rent. I said, oh, Philip done did it now.
Yeah, exactly. We got new buildings with garages in them. So in my area, mind you, this is like probably one of the worst areas of Jersey City to park. The
The
Heights,
Heights is
because
ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous.
we got new buildings with driveways now. Driveway takes up a parking. 3 new buildings on the block. 3 parkings gone. You got alternate side on the street parking.
right.
It doesn't add up. None of it adds up. And we're not a city that has the infrastructure to be carless.
No.
Exactly. And I feel like I'm just not understanding why that is something that we think that isn't important, something that we don't think, oh, that's an easy thing to get rid of. Like, I don't feel like parking has ever been something Jersey City has had a stable hold of. So the fact that we're just
No.
adding, like, I don't think
Not
there's
at all.
ever been a time where we easily found parking, but like the fact that we keep on adding to it without adding parking is just like, so at what point do we realize maybe we went too far? Like,
Right.
speaking of housing, you've now triggered me. The real estate, the prices of Jersey City make absolutely, positively not a lick of sense. Not a single lick of sense does it make. The pricing.
Can you even
Like,
live by yourself as a young person in Jersey City? Like, is that even possible?
no. So it just, like, I've been looking, and it really, those rundown, and when I say rundown, I mean raggedy. Like, at this point, we're probably gonna have to demolish just about the entire place and start from scratch. Those type of
Yes.
homes, you would expect, okay, rundown house like that's got to be under 100K because it requires so much renovation. Not in Jersey City. Those homes are at least $300,000 for a house I have to completely redo. Are you kidding me? It
Yeah.
makes no sense. Like, you can't even like attempt to like, okay, let me just find a place that I can work on. You can't even do that because that alone is costing you 300, 350. Like, it makes, and then like they're building the newer, nicer homes in the areas that need work. The areas that most people don't want to live in is where they're building the newer homes and then jacking up the prices. So it's just like, it's a lose-lose when you're trying to live in Jersey City and you're not filthy rich. It's a lose-lose.
uh damn girl. I was dead ass like apartment hunting and stuff, and I was like, oh hell no. Especially down here. I'm like, oh hell no. And like you really have to struggle to survive here. And I said, damn, like we don't when I tell you like New York can't even sustain that, don't know why they think Jersey can. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I also want to dig into the council real quick. To those people of color on our council, you should be ashamed of yourself. There's a good amount of them on there. And specifically, my criticism goes to the 3 black folk that's on there, because y'all have to have lost y'all motherfucking minds to agree with the shit that you are agreeing with. I don't understand it. The black folk on the council really throws me for a loop all the time, especially who's his name? Jeremiah. I think he's Ward F or some shit like that. That's my mama called him a coon.
Yes, it's they're up for re-election. I forget when exactly, but again, not enough people are familiar with the with whoever's running on a basis that's more than face value. So it's like you see whoever has the most posters up and whoever is able to spend time walking around, knocking on doors or whatever. That's who you're going to vote for. But those people are just appointed by Philip. So he finances their campaigns. So it's like, well, they're always his agenda is like 4 layers deep, because there's only 2 people on there that are against him and his whatever he has to offer. And it makes it difficult to have any real change, because the council backs him. So we have to revote the council, we'd have to vote him out, and then we'd have to make sure that the council is not adhering to whoever's next. Council should be a group of people that are, looking for the genuine, like, best interest of the city, not someone looking to be buddy with the mayor.
Right, exactly. And that's how I feel. And it's just a cognitive dissonance when it comes to a lot of different situations. Like when it comes to the Laurel Court situation, that's what they claim that's what the people wanted living there. And it's not, and they really didn't take into consideration how it would affect that area, because they're right next to VI, and then they're really not taking any consideration of anything that goes on, like how it affects anybody in the city. But they claim that's what the people wanted. Well, people didn't want that fat ass building by Berry Lane, but yet you still approved it. So it's like, obviously there is an agenda. Obviously the mayor, he has a vision of Jersey City, and he wants to make it. And I also believe he wants to make it like this. He claims he wants to make like this mixed income utopia. I want to stay with my Puerto Ricans and my black folk. That's where I want to be at. I'm comfortable with that.
Honestly, I too, like, I'm just us. I'm not trying to. I get it, but I'm good. I'm good just here with my folks.
I'm good off of that.
I don't actually need you to be around us. We just want better living conditions. We don't want to actually live with you guys to get that. And another thing, I feel like the younger people of the city, I just feel like we need more genuine interest in it. I feel like, especially with us, and like, we have so much access to like the social world and what it's like to live in so many other places.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of young people like us, they're just like, listen, I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about moving out to this new place and moving here. Like, not a lot of young people like us are thinking long term about Jersey City. They're all thinking about, like, yeah, I'm moving out. I'm going to Atlanta, or I'm going to Houston, or I'm going somewhere else. Like, they're not thinking about staying here. So because of that, not enough of them care about who is running the city and what the things that they're doing, because they're just like, listen, I'm only here for the meantime. I don't really care. And I feel like if more young people really educate themselves about what's happening and we like band together, like, we could actually physically change things and make it so that we don't all have to run away in order to have better living conditions.
I feel like that also comes from the adults as well. Like, the adults clearly don't want to be here either. So definitely the children are going to be like, well, I'm trying to get the fuck up out of here too, which I understand. Like, if you have the opportunity to go somewhere else and live better, why not do that? Obviously there's an outcry for at least affordable housing. You know what I mean? Like, did you hear what they're doing with Bayfront? Like, they're trying to make it like this little mixed income area and shit. It's like by what is it, down by Duncan or whatever? Down there.
It's by the it's like going to the old Pathmark area, that down there, Bayfront.
Yes.
That's where it is.
So they're trying to like make that a whole utopia. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be low income housing over there, and it's gonna be people with higher incomes over there. And I'm just like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that shit. Okay. I don't want that. I would rather, to be honest, I would rather them just make a whole new hood. Please. I'm begging.
Doesn't even the idea doesn't even make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Like, there are more people who are low income. So automatically, by giving things to higher income people, you are still forcing lower income people. No matter how many you accept, 20% is like the bare minimum, and you can't even do that. So
Right.
you're just continuously throwing these people to the side with every building you build. And
Right.
again, when you go, you're talking low income. Who decides what that even looks like? Who decides if
Exactly.
they're Jersey City residents? They could be people from New York who are making a certain amount of money that is deemed low income that are now moving over here.
Right. And
Another
what is
person
low
from here
income?
is making significantly less money. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
tricky thing to like who is really mandating what's considered low income and like what are the standards?
Yeah. What is low income when the medium income is keep going up? Like, what does that mean? So low income here could really mean like 50K, 60K, when a lot of us who live in legit low income are making under that. Like a good amount of us are really making under
Exactly.
that. So what is low
And is it
income?
yeah, is it based on credit scores? Because you know how that
Oh,
system
we're fucked.
works, right?
If it's credit.
Um,
Yeah, if you're
who tends to have exactly who has better credit scores and all this history and all this now criminal history does that take in, you know what I'm saying? All these
yes.
factors that can take into a part of whether someone gets just a regular apartment or not.
Yeah, because they definitely do run your credit. They do background checks. They do all that. So if you are a person of color, automatically it's like, well, that's done. That's why I say the whole housing situation, the whole zoning situation, is just anti-black. It's just a whole racist ass system because it's already set up for us to fail. If you don't check a certain amount of boxes, you're not able to acquire certain things. So I feel like for a city that has so much deep history with people of color, you would think, damn, let's accommodate to them and really help them out. But instead, they're just like, no, get these niggers out of here. And it pisses me off. And I hate it. Like,
It's what because it's the most diverse city in America or whatever, but it's the most segregated city. Us in Chicago, but we even are more segregated within our even own sections of diaspora.
Right.
that's
You
true.
know, because like again, it's like every single Hispanic person I've ever met has lived up here, no matter what they look like. And then you go to West Side, it's a different story, and you go to pockets of West Side, so you're like, over here is like where people from like the Middle East tend to live amongst each other, and it's like it's all these different pockets of people, and then now it's people trying to just take over all these different sections
Mm-hmm.
and then still get the culture, but also kick out the people that creating the culture that they are attracted to. None
Yeah,
of it makes sense.
it
None of
doesn't.
it makes sense.
It doesn't. So that's why I'm hoping for 2021 when the election comes, people really do their best to vote. And I really mean vote for the council. Philip, you know what? If he's here for another 4 years, I will sadly cry. But
Yeah.
the
If the
council, I feel
council is
like,
stronger,
yeah, they're the people who we really got to be voting for. It's just like with the president, you got to vote for who's in Senate. That's who you really got to vote for.
Right.
So I could give a shit about Philip. It's more about the wards. And I feel like that education needs to be put out there so people could be like, okay, this is the people we really need to vote for. So I really hope with this upcoming election, some shit turns out and people, I noticed a lot of people are becoming more aware of what's going on. And I see a lot of discourse about it. And it makes me very happy because this is the most discourse I've ever heard about any election or about anything that's going on in Jersey City. So that makes me feel good, but also at the same time, it's just like we really need to, show our actions, stop talking, and really be about it and get these motherfuckers up out of here.
I have a question. Do you guys see yourselves staying in Jersey City? Like, let's say, obviously, financially, right now, it's like, but let's say that was taken care of a bit and it didn't become as expensive to live here. Would you guys stay here or would you guys want to
Ooh.
move somewhere else?
Well, my field, so I'm in the podcast world. So I work in podcasting and I do a lot of podcast work. And the best way to get a lot of those jobs is in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I don't want to live in New York City because it's going to be too high for rent wise, whatever. So staying in Jersey City is ideal. But I'm also at the point where I'm like, I kind of want to go somewhere else too. Like I want to go and explore and go see what the other options are. Like DMV area is looking very nice. Obviously, a lot of the jobs and stuff available to me is in New York City. So staying here is kind of like, it makes sense. But it just makes me uncomfortable to stay in a place knowing that the council and the city hall is really against my being and my existence. So it's kind of like, but then also you think about it, where else would you go? If that really was matter to you, like where else would you go? Because everywhere you go is going to be like, people don't fuck with you.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. It's either get your money up or leave, bitch. I think that's the option.
Yeah, for me, it's very much connected to work as opposed like what am I doing, and what is the area that I need to do it in. So everybody in my field talks about East Coast, West Coast, bouncing back. I always imagine myself East Coast centric. So Jersey City. Every time I think about things I want to do, it's like for the city, for the people like who live in the city. So like at some point, I always imagine myself, even if I were to leave to different places for periods of time, I always coming right back. I don't want my kids to go to private school. I want them to go to like a public school in a city.
Yeah, my kids need to go to Ferris. That's what they need to do. Get some real education.
So it's like I always imagine myself at some point coming back and or just being here a majority of the time, because there's so much work that needs to be done. And I feel like it's too often put into the hands of other people, even in the creative. Like I want to help people, like kids, do things in the arts, And it's like, am I going to go do that in a city that's foreign to me? Which is like, yes, that's a nice gesture, but it's also like, what about the people who were in my position not too long ago? So I always imagine myself coming back. So if I could live here, if I could always have a home here, I'm completely happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. I feel like I'm like in the middle. I feel like part of me wants to like explore what's out there just because, like I said, I've been in the same place my entire life. Like I know no other place. So it's just like, what is out there? I feel like maybe spend some time just traveling and seeing what the rest of the world looks like. But at the same time, I feel like I do, as crazy as the city is, I do love the city, because for the very reason that makes me want to go out and explore is the very reason that makes me want to stay here. This is the city that I know. Like I know this place. I'm comfortable here. Yeah. Despite the crazy things, I love it here. Like, so I don't want to, like, I can, like, sometimes I think like, okay, if I do move, where can I live? And I think like, I can imagine myself living anywhere else. Like, I don't think I could live in like Cali. I don't think I could, like, I just can't imagine myself. Even New York, even though it's right there, I'm still just like, but I'm not, there's too many people in New York. Like there's a lot of people in Jersey City, but there's like a lot of people in New York. And it's just like, I'm not trying to be around all those people. Like, so I feel like at the core, I feel like I'm always going to be here. I just like the same thing that you said, like if I could always have a home here while still being able to go out and explore other places, I feel like for me, that's the best of both worlds. Like that would be the dream, to always have a home here, but still be able to like go to other places.
I feel like it's one of those situations where it's just like, I guess I'll stay. Like it's like one of those. Because like
even,
I get you.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was like, even the places that I'm looking to go visit, I'm like, how, like, are they like Jersey City? Like, do they have are they culturally as, quote unquote, we go with the diverse word? Are they as culturally diverse? Like, is the food going to be as good over there as it is over here?
Hell no.
Right. So it's like, it's like you look for those pockets of places that's like when I think about traveling like overseas, I'm like, oh, well, London has a strong Caribbean community, and like like a diverse community of people that exist and within their pockets, and it's like, well, I'd like to go to those parts,
Right.
Like I don't want to go to like necessarily like Germany or any of these other places where it's like I'm I guess indulging in their culture, which is like nice, but it's like I would never want to live here.
Yeah, I agree. We're such in a unique spot in the world in general, like being outside of New York City, being like directly outside. There's not a lot of cities that could say like, oh, we're directly outside, where there's no highway in between or like no fat ass piece of land in between. We're literally right there. So like we're in such a unique place geographically, and then also I feel like our culture is so unique that you do tend to see a lot of people do stay. Like you see a lot of people leave, and you see a lot of people come right the fuck back because we're so specific. Like I feel like we're just a specific group of people. So it's difficult. I don't know. I always think about like where would I go? But it's just like I don't know where else I would go. I ain't going to no California.
Yeah.
That bitch is about to go under. One earthquake. It's about to be a
Gotta
drought.
get it
Like
while it's good.
right. And then I think about like, do I want to go
there
to
for 3 months and come back before the fires start?
okay? Then I think about like, damn, what if I just switch it up? Let's go to middle of America. But then I think about it. I don't want to go to no damn
Chicago?
Kansas. I don't want to go to no Wisconsin. Chicago is it scares me because when it gets
It's
hit,
cold.
bitch, and it's cold as hell.
Cold.
Right.
That's the only thing that'll keep me from ever visiting there in the winter months.
Right,
Like nah.
You know, as many years as I spent here in the wintertime every year, I'm just like, damn, like, why is it so cold? It just doesn't make any sense. But like, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else that's colder than here because like
I can't imagine having a winter that's not cold. Like going to California and
right,
it's hot.
like,
I'd be like,
first
what?
of all,
Yeah.
those
I
people,
don't
like,
know.
the
I'm not gonna
people in California who own bubble coats.
knock until I try.
Like the coldest it
That's the
gets is
thing
like
too, yeah.
55 degrees and you have a bubble coat on. Like, what are you doing? Why do
I
you
have
just
too
own
many boots. I have too many North Faces. I have too many bubbles. Going over to California is like I have to
That's
rearrange
the
my
only thing
whole.
holding me back.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to rearrange your whole entire wardrobe because we dressed for over here.
I like to have all 4 seasons, you know?
Yeah,
I
all
like
4
to-
seasons are nice.
And they keep
Right.
niggas in the house.
This is that
That
season.
is true. That is true.
Yeah, it's fact.
The winter time stops me from making a lot of dumb decisions. Like, yeah, I'm not going out there.
I mean, sometimes, last year, me and my friends, we definitely were out there in like October, November at the peninsula doing some shit we shouldn't be doing. But you know what? We were over there freezing, bitch, but we were just like.
That's the thing.
But I think that's what makes us so unique. Like going to those places like during specific times of the years and like just where we're at is just so unique. So I just genuinely cannot imagine going anywhere else.
It's hard to want to leave a place that people want to go to.
Right.
That's the predicament. Like a lot of these people leave their places and no one wants to go there. So it's like I could see why you want to leave. There's nothing going on.
I see why you wanted to
stuff
leave
going
campus.
on.
I just don't see why. Like, I feel like most of the reasons why people do want to live here is because it's become ridiculous to stay here. Like, it's just not really financially smart to put yourself into bankruptcy to live here or living in below standard means just to stay here. So I see why, but like once you take that out, like if it didn't become such a crazy place to live in terms of financially, then I feel like, I mean, why would I leave? Like, there's no other place like Jersey City, like literally, there's no other.
And I was dead ass talking to my sister about this, and I was like, you know what? Like, if I do decide to live on my own, I could do it, but I don't want to live check to check. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to save up enough so you could eventually move into that house or move into somewhere else, you know?
Because so, like, why am I leaving a place with roommates that I'm related to get roommates I'm not related to?
Right.
Sometimes, like, depending on your situation, of course, is different person to person, you know? Some situations are a lot different. But if you're genuinely don't have to leave, or don't have a strong will to leave, it's like I definitely should just be able to save up till I can get my own place. But they're trying to make that impossible over here.
Right. Like I guess I could cough up $1,300 a month, but I don't fucking want to. Like I don't like that and it's not livable. Like it's just because you want to be able to, like you said, like you want to be able to save, like you want to be able to do other things. And you know, once the other bills start coming in, like the phone bill, cable, Wi-Fi and shit, because you know we're demanding people, Spotify, Netflix and them, because those are bills too. Weed and alcohol, that's another bill. Like that's it's unlivable.
Right. Especially like when you know like $1,300 in like Atlanta is getting you a nice condo and
you getting a 3-bedroom.
it with like literally you're getting a 3-bedroom luxury apartment
A
and
parking spot.
building with so many amenities, and you're just like $1,300 here is getting me
An apartment.
crummy apartment, and let's hope that it's at least in a decent area, whatever the case is. So it's just like that's another thing. Like your $1,300 somewhere else could be like a whole nother life.
And that's the main complaint too, isn't it? Like in other places, the same amount of money I'm spending over here, I could be doing so much more in other places. So that's the main complaint. Like you could do it, but you just don't want to because it's just like I could just go to North Carolina. I want
because those expenses that you save over here turn into expenses over there. It's like, all right, how many cars am I gonna run through? Driving 30 miles a day, or I don't drive.
That's true,
but driving like 1,000 miles a day.
That's true, because down
like
south
your car
you have to drive.
Need to be repaired often.
Right.
Yeah.
And even knowing that, I'd still rather pay $1,300 here than over there, because I know what I'm getting myself into over here. Like, I know is good. I know I still got the best food spots. I know I still got the best places to chill and like the convenience. Over there, I mean, I'm taking a risk. Like, I'm hoping that, you pay $1,300 just to stay in your apartment because like no one has the time to be driving 50 miles to go to the store. Like at this point, you're just paying for that luxury apartment. I'd rather stay here and at least I get our amenities don't come in the building, they come in the area, what's on the outside. That's our amenities.
That's why I said, that's why I was like, I guess I'll stay, because that's what it is.
think about it too, because like you living in wherever you living at, you get one concert a year in the city that's like X miles away that everybody's gonna get tickets to in the big mega dome or whatever. In New York, I could see like $20 concerts, like 3 every month.
Right. You go to Hammerstein, you go Terminal 5, you could go to Madison Square, you go to Barclays, you can
Prudential.
It's like people
MetLife,
like the quality of life is just way better.
You know what?
Not that we just broke it down as why we're paying for this shit. I hate us.
Like the amount of concerts that I go to, and it's just so convenient. Like, where do I want to go? Do I want to go to MetLife? Do I want to go to Prudential? Am I feeling MSG? And it's like all right there. Like,
Not that we just broke it down. I'm going to edit this part out. I'm not going to give these motherfuckers a reason to raise this rent again.
Right. Like, you know what? Actually, they brought great points.